A contractual brief is a brief whereby the client approaches the media company and tells them what they want to do, what they need to be made, and at the end of it, a contract is signed. A contractual brief is legally binding, which makes it safe. One advantage of a contractual brief is that it's legally binding, and if any of the parties doesn't uphold to that part of the bargain, the other party can sue them and take them to court, and the other party can be fined as well. Is that most times it's very, very controlling, and it's very controlling because the client just states what needs to be done, and you can like add any flair or pick up the idea to make it look better than what the client has already put down for. It's the brief you can see here on the left to me, whereby it's a particular contract and someone has to sign, the media company, the media personnel has to sign the contract at the end of the day. Another very good example of a contract is, for example, working for BBC. In order to work for BBC, you have to sign a contract. It's a brief that's not documented, so basically it's just a verbal talk between the client and the media company or the media personnel. The problem with this is that it is not legally binding, that there's no contract signed or no paper signed, and one side of the party, if one side of the party does not uphold to that bargain or what they said they would do in the first place, no, they can't be held responsible for anything. An advantage for this is that it's quick. It's very quick and easy to negotiate, and it's very easy to negotiate between the two parties as well. And also the media company or the media personnel will get everything for detail. We get every single bit of detail needed to make the product. One disadvantage is that it's not legally binding, and therefore the media company can lose money if the client doesn't uphold to their part of the negotiation, and also the client can also lose money if the product delivered is not appropriate for the brief that they have set. An example of an informal brief is two people sitting together and discussing about a particular idea or talking about the brief basically. This is when the client advertises the brief as like a job offer and people have to apply to work on the brief. One advantage of a tender brief is that the budget is being set by the client and therefore does not allow the media company to have flexibility or flair towards the outcome of the project. A disadvantage is that a lot of media companies will want the project and will apply for the project, but only one of them will get it. And an example of a tender brief is the one right here, where we can see that the South Australian Works is asking for people to request for submission. So this is a very good example of a tender brief. Thank you.
So a formal brief is a brief which lays down rules and regulations and obviously gives guidelines for the company to follow. An advantage of a formal brief is that everything is written down and it's clear for the client to understand. A disadvantage, however, is that you might not be able to expand on the idea and like have inputs because it's already a fixed brief, so you can't really like try and negotiate anything because it's a formal brief. Once it's there already. A negotiated brief is when a media company and a client compromise within each other to make an idea and to make both sides happy. So for example, let's say if the client decides to give the media company a music video to edit or what, so and if the media company feels that they can't edit it or film it in the right time, they could always negotiate for more time. And also a negotiated brief could also allow you to negotiate things like the best suited locations, editing time, when it's going to be due, and all sorts like that. Cooperative brief is when a client and two or more companies come together to work on a particular project. So let's say, for example, we have two media companies and we have the client who wants a music video to be made, or a short film or a thriller. So then it would be split like this. So one media company could do the filming, and then the other media company would have to do the editing and all that stuff like that. So obviously, because they're both working together, that means they are cooperating with each other in order to get the brief fulfilled. An advantage of a cooperative brief is that you get to work together in order to make the best.
Yeah, it's also
project.
easy, faster.
It's faster as well, because there's 3 people working. I mean, there's 2 companies working
on a single
same
project.
thing. So and the disadvantage is there could be disagreements between the 2 companies. So let's say, for example, if the client decides to say you're working on the filming, you're working on the editing, and they feel like no, they want to swap it, there could be a disagreement which could lead to a stalemate, and then obviously there would be complications between the 2 companies.
It will take them longer to come to an agreement.
So that's a very big disadvantage.
Competitive brief is when a client gives out a brief to other competitors or people out there that compete for a place towards the brief. So for example, they might have a short, say like there was a company that wanted a client or other clients to make a short film. The example would be
for example, a competitive brief will be when a client sets a brief, but other media companies have to work in it as a competition to earn a prize at the end. For example, if a client sets a brief saying that a music video has to be made, 10 media companies will make different music videos for to make the client specification, but only one will be chosen.
An advantage of this is that it's better for the company because it allows them to get the best fitted or suited client for their company, which allows them to be more creative. And also, an advantage to the client or the people out there is that there's many competitive briefs out there, so it's easy for them to enter it, e.g. through advertising, such as that.
Another disadvantage is that when the media companies make this brief, they actually waste their own money. So if they do not get picked for the to carry out the brief by the client, then they've lost a lot of money.
They've lost all their money. So
a commission brief. A commission brief is when a brief is commissioned by the client to hire a company that creates a product. So for example, basically they would have a brief that's given to them, and for the client it's their job to come up with ideas and research, such as proposals or initial ideas, such as that. And this is also an advantage because the profit is split between the client and the company, so they're both working together and it sort of benefits them both. An advantage of this is that the independent company that's been chosen by the client is getting paid, and they have time to work on other projects since it's not such a heavy project. They don't have to it's not fixed like a formal brief, they don't just have to do this for the client or whatever. They can sort of be free with it. However, a disadvantage for the client is that because the independent company has so much, what's that word? Nature and demand,
Because
it's sort of by nature, because they have more freedom.
Oh yeah, so because the media company has so much freedom, they keep changing it and changing
Yeah.
it, and the originality
So they
of the
might
product
not-
is lost.
The actual thing, they might not like it. Like the decision they might have had in their head might not be the same as what was given to the independent company, because it's now in their hands to
Do whatever they
Yeah.
want.